Moving to the AFC, we're going to start in the AFC West. Should we start off with the only exciting team, or start off with the
Just start out with the Chiefs. We all have the exact same.
Start off with the Chiefs, because then the next three we can,
get through.
Yeah. Kansas City. They win the division, obviously.
14-3 for me.
I have them
as
14-3.
the 1 seed.
I also have them as the 1 seed.
I'm giving them the respect that they deserve this year.
I think that's due from all of us.
I think it's very due. 6-0 in the division, obviously.
I have them 5-1 in the division.
I could see them
They lost to the
dropping one.
Broncos.
No, I think I have them dropping one of the Chargers.
Yeah.
I could see them dropping one to any of those 3 teams at some point.
Yeah, but I only have it happening.
I have the Chiefs winning the division. Obviously, I have them 13-4. They're my 1 seed. It's that. Who's
I had them at 14.
They still have it even last year defensive wise, it was one of the best.
They had an elite defense.
That's
they had a
the
top
best
5 defense in the league.
That's the best
This is
defense
what
I've
I'm
seen
talking
with
about. When you gift all-time quarterbacks elite defenses, they win Super Bowls. That's what Patrick Mahomes did last year with the worst receiving core he's ever had, by far.
Defense is very important, man. It's a forgotten part in today's NFL.
Chris Jones is now the best defensive tackle in the league now that Aaron Donald's gone.
Yeah.
He's going to get the respect he deserves.
I have the Chiefs as the best team in the league, overall.
They're tied. They're tied for the best with the 14.
I have them 14-3, and then
I have
the next best team I have is the Lions at 13-4.
I have them as a top.
There's not much else to talk about here. I mean, they got better. I mean, they
genuinely
they got
better.
better. They improved as a team after winning the Super Bowl.
They actually added some competent weapons.
And
I don't know if they're great weapons, but they'll be average at least.
The only downside they had was losing L'Jarius Sneed.
But they have Trent McDuffie.
But they have Trent McDuffie, exactly.
So,
that's the only downside that I
L'Jarius
see.
Sneed was expendable, which is crazy.
This is a super team. They've added weapons. This is the best
It's
team.
unbelievable.
So.
Nick Bolton.
They will be a problem, obviously, for the foreseeable future.
But specifically this year, I mean, they're looking for the 3-peat, and it's gonna be a problem.
It's gonna be tough to solve.
So I am still upset.
They're coming for the 3-peat, and it's gonna be tough.
I am still upset to this day that they were able to draft George Karlaftis and the Bengals were not. I am so mad about that.
Yeah, that was not good. I have them at 14-3, by the way. 6-0 in their division.
Keep it simple.
Like you said, they got better.
There's not much else to say.
No, I was saying to that point.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't a good thing.
He immediately was just really good.
Yeah.
Well, we also passed on Patrick Mahomes and took John Ross. So I guess
you got
we
Joe
have
Burrow,
issues,
so
they were still high on Andy Dalton at that point.
Yeah.
You gotta remember.
we gotta remember. Andy Dalton was the guy at that time. Weaver.
Well, hey, we got Joe
No,
Burrow.
that's agreed.
Joe
That is
Burrow.
I am gonna make fun of them.
Joe Burrow is a man.
Me too.
Yeah.
But the only downside this offseason that I've heard from them is the Hollywood Brown injury.
Yeah.
They got Xavier Worthy, they're the same name receiver
and
though.
Rasheed Rice.
And Rasheed Rice, it looks like it's avoiding suspension.
Yeah.
So I mean, whatever.
So who's gonna play the wide
Is what it is.
Who's going to be the 3? Is it going to be Justin Watson, Sky Moore, Kadarius Toney? It doesn't matter because one of them is going to be.
They won the Super Bowl last year with freaking
MVS.
MVS as their wide receiver 1 or something. Like it does not matter. It literally does not matter.
It was Rasheed Rice, but
yeah, it was receiver. In the playoffs, it was MVS.
They could roll out a receiving trio of us 3 and still win the Super Bowl.
Just run the ball with Pacheco and that.
Yeah, that's a
line.
game. Hey, you still have Kelsey. So it's fine.
Yeah, I mean they're good. They're fine. They're fine. It does not matter who they have as long as they have Mahomes and
Andy Reid.
competent.
They wouldn't have to guard us in that.
They'd still win.
They'd triple team Kelsey and still win.
This is a lot of bitterness coming from us, but everything we're saying is real. Everything we're saying is factual.
All right, yeah, screw them. Let's move on.
Yeah, next team.
For me, it's the Raiders.
What
in
in
the
the
God's
God's
green
green earth?
I have them at 6-11. What? It doesn't matter. They're all terrible.
I don't think we have any of these teams making the playoffs.
That's kind of.
I, in all honesty, I could see them being the worst in this division. Yes, because the quarterback situation is
laughable.
It's laughable, and it's. If I think about, if I were to go back through this, I would probably put I would have the Chargers winning a game or 2 more and being higher. But with what I have, I'm going to go Raiders 6-11. Terrible, 2-4 in the division.
I have the Raiders at 6-11 as well. They're 3rd in the division for me.
That's
it's similar to how I have the Giants, where their defensive line, because they added Christian Wilkins, their defensive line is going to single-handedly win them like 2 or 3 games. But their quarterback situation is not good. Their offensive line is not great. Devontae Adams is a Ferrari in a
We've said this
trap house.
hundreds of times.
Yeah, they're outside of defensive line. Their defense isn't great. They promoted Antonio Pierce to the head coach, which could be interesting.
I was excited. I was happy to see that.
Yeah, he deserved it after the past couple times he was the interim head coach. So that'll be interesting to see. But they just don't have the talent.
No,
they
they're
need
terrible.
this year. Yeah.
I guess I'll continue with the Raiders.
Let Evan continue with the Raiders, and then he'll start the next game.
Raiders. I have them at 5-12, third in the division. Their quarterback battle is Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell. That's pretty bad.
Yep.
Then you have Zamir White, who I think is going to be solid. Devontae Adams, who
Zach's running back 1.
I like Zamir White.
Devontae Adams, who for the life of him needs to get out of Las Vegas. Jacoby Myers, I don't think he's going to have as good of a year as he did last year. That offensive line is something to write home about. The defensive line, on the other hand, is going to be very good with Max Crosby, Christian Wilkins,
Tyree Wilson, too.
I would love to see him
get to where he's supposed to be. But yeah, there's really nothing. They're like who are we talking about? They're like the Seahawks. There's really nothing too crazy about them, but the Seahawks are better.
The Seahawks were better in every single way.
Yes, but 5-12, third in the division. There's nothing to write home about them.
So since we're talking about the Raiders, I have them last in the division at 4-13. This is a putrid football team. This team is just absolutely terrible.
If you want to start a rebuild on the new Madden game, this might be the team.
I've considered it. I have a couple other teams up my sleeve that I'm looking at, though. Anyways, though, the Raiders suck balls. They are really, really bad. They are really, really bad. They are
right to the point.
bad. So 4-13, last in the division. This is a terrible football team. I do have them at 1-5 in the division, so I think it was actually never mind. I think I haven't beaten the Broncos one time. So I'll start us back out from here. I'm going to go back up to the 2 spot because we got a little bit wild there. Talking about the Raiders.
I don't know about
the Raiders are way down on my list. So I'm going to go back up to the 2 spot. I got the Chargers coming in at 2.
Okay.
I have them 7-10 and an even 3-3 in the division. I am a little higher in the Chargers than maybe all of you are, it seems. Probably.
We'll get to it.
Yeah.
I have him at 7-10. Jim Harbaugh is a good coach. He's won at every single level, every place he's been.
As much as I hate him, he's a good head coach.
He's a great head coach. He's won at every single level. Justin Herbert is still there.
Still an elite quarterback.
He's still a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. Their running back room is weak, but in the NFL, you can run the football with Gus Edwards in the NFL. You don't gotta have Derrick Henry. So I'm not gonna complain too much about the running back room. The receiving room is a problem that needs fixed. Their offense in general has pretty much no one except for Herbert, but Herbert and Jim Harbaugh.
They got Joe Alton, Rashawn Slater.
Oh yeah, their line.
Their
offensive line is good. So you put Gus Edwards behind
they
that.
They should be able to run the ball decently well, especially with Harbaugh's scheme.
Yeah, I like Harbaugh. I like Herbert. I like their O-line. That is a good starting point for this team. And the reason I have them at 7-10 is strictly because of Jim Harbaugh, and he wins everywhere he goes.
Yeah.
They very, very clearly missed the playoffs, but they are going in the right direction, I think.
I have them at 6-11, second in the division.
Maybe not.
I think that Justin Herbert is going to take a step back this year because I don't know how I feel about him in this scheme with Jim Harbaugh and who's the OC?
No clue.
Something Roman, right?
No, Roman Wilson's an OC.
Let me look.
I was gonna say Roman Wilson. Is it Greg Roman?
I think so.
Yeah, I think it's Greg Roman.
So they're all both very run-heavy guys. So, and Justin Herbert is not that. He is an exceptional passer and one of the best in the NFL. And like we've said, their receiving core is nothing to write home about. So I'm interested to see how Herbert fits in this offense because I believe they're going to be running the ball probably majority of the time. So I think his numbers might drop slightly a little. But the offensive line is really good. The defense has some bright spots with, you got Asante Samuel, Derwin James still good. They still have Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa. But yeah, I think this is going to be kind of just a year where they're kind of feeling everything out with the new head coaching regime, and then I think Harbaugh will get to his winning ways again next year once they kind of build the team around Herbert a little bit better. But right now, it's just Herbert and everybody else.
I have the Chargers at 7-10, second in the division as well.
Nice.
Yeah, I think we're all in the same
Okay.
realm when it comes to the Chargers. They've got good players. Like they still, Joey Bosa's not Nick Bosa, but he's still he's still a quality edge rusher. Khalil Mack, although aging, is still a decent linebacker. Their O-line has good pieces, and like they've got a good starting point for a rebuild, but their receiver room is a major issue right now. And outside of that, Derwin James, one of the best safeties in football, but after that, they have good pieces, but not a great cohesive unit. And the AFC is loaded, so if you don't really have a cohesive unit, you don't really have a chance to make some noise in this conference. So, I have them at 7-10. They have a good starting point for a rebuild, but it's not happening this year.
Well, I think we're all in the same spot.
I have them at 5-12 and third in the division. If this describes the Chargers offense right now, I sent Evan a video this week of the caption says, and Justin Herbert throws it long, and then it's Quentin Johnston. It's a kid at a hibachi grill type thing where they throw the eggs and stuff in there, and the kid goes, smokes his head.
Yeah. Johnson might be one of the worst receivers I've seen. I genuinely have not seen that guy catch a ball in over a year.
Yeah.
Every clip I see, he's dropping. I'm not even joking.
So, I'm just going to use that to describe the Chargers this year. 5-12, third in the division.
All right.
Denver.
They're last in the division. I have them 2-15. They are the worst team in the NFL, in my opinion, this season.
That's egregious.
That's terrible.
I am not a Bo Nix believer at all.
Well, Asher, you hate Bo Nix.
I don't hate Bo Nix, but I think if your calling card as a quarterback in college is completion percentage, that says more about the scheme than you as a player. And also, he had those stats. He was 24. He was in college for 6 years. I would hope he would have that kind of stats. Stetson Bennett tore it up, and he was 25. He won a national title. He hasn't done anything in the NFL. That's what I'm saying. I'm not a Bo Nix believer at all. They lost Jerry Jeudy. Javonte Williams might have a bounce-back year, but they don't really have the O-line to take advantage of that.
I think Jaleel McCollum has a better chance.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
everything I've heard has said Javonte Williams has been trending up.
Can take carries away from him.
He's not starting over him. He'll take carries away.
Sean Payton's always used it.
Sean Payton, listen, I get Sean Payton is a good offensive mind in theory.
No, I'm just saying
he hasn't won a Super Bowl in 15 years.
I'm just saying most coaches have never won a Super
Bowl.
Bowl.
No, I understand that, but it's been some time. Okay.
I think he was just getting more on the line.
I'm just saying
RB
that he runs multiple running backs.
Yeah, I know.
You've always been higher on the Broncos, though.
Me? Yeah. I'm not
He was high when they had Russell Wilson because he thought Russell Wilson wouldn't fall off a cliff.
I did not expect Russell Wilson to drop clear off a cliff.
I've been low on the Broncos since they got Russell Wilson. I'm not that low. I have them at 5-12, third of the division.
I have them at 5-12, tied for last in the division with the Chargers.
I have them at 4-13.
So I'm really low on the Broncos. Yeah. I don't think.
I'm not near as low on Bo Nix as the rest of you are.
I'm not
extremely
low on Bo, but I
think he's not bad. He looked decent in the preseason game. It's preseason, but he'll be okay.
There's a reason why they drafted him.
I think Bo Nix is going to be all right. We haven't seen really yet, but from what we have seen,
he's your prototypical Sean Payton.
He is a prototypical Sean Payton guy.
That'll work.
He's not going to be Drew Brees.
No.
Colin Cowherd said he could, which was insane to me.
Colin Cowherd also says a lot of things.
Doesn't he? He's purposely bad.
Nobody.
I don't think he's a bad analyst, but every once in a while he just says something that is like, what are you even talking about?
He's got some out there takes.
Yeah.
It's fine.
But the receivers are interesting. I like Marvin Mims. Cortland Sutton had a solid year last year.
Get Cortland Sutton out of this team.
Yeah. Troy Franklin, who they just drafted, who was pretty good from Oregon. The offensive line's not too shabby. They have the best corner in the league, Pat Surtain. Other than that, on defense, they have nothing. So,
They're pretty bad.
They're a pretty bad team.
Let's move on.
Yeah, next division.
what did we do?
AFC
NFC East, right?
Yeah.
Or AFC East, excuse me. East. Let's go Buffalo.
Buffalo
Bills.
Buffalo Bills.
Oh, we're starting with Buffalo.
I'm gonna let you all
Let's
take this
go,
one.
Buffalo.
I'll start with Buffalo. I have the Bills at 8-9, third in the division. Like Nick projected, their team kind of went to crap a little bit after they lost. But they still have Josh Allen, and Josh Allen is still an exceptional quarterback. James Cook, still very good. I think Khalil Shakir is going to have a really good season. I like Keon Coleman. Curtis Samuel on there is not too shabby, but it's not Stephon Diggs or Gabe Wilson. Or Gabe Davis, excuse me. Dalton Kincaid coming off a big year. I think he's going to continue that. They really just got decimated on defense. They still have Ed Oliver, Matt Milano, but their secondary is terrible. Not anything to really write home about. So I think this is a regress year for the Bills. They go 8-9, missing the playoffs, third in the division, because this division has only gotten better outside of the Patriots.
Patriots got better too. They just didn't really have
Much to
You just wait till I talk about the Patriots.
But so I think the time of the Bills owning this division is over. So third in division, not making the playoffs at 8.
I'm piggybacking off that. I agree. Their time is over. I have the Bills at 7-10, which
That's low.
which it looks low, but it's one game worse than them.
That's true, I guess.
So, I mean,
I'll shut up. That's true. You're right.
Can I just point this out? You guys had something similar earlier with the NFC, and Zach grilled you.
No, yeah, I know. The Commanders.
Over like a 4-win team and a 5-win team.
Yeah.
a 4-win and a 6-win team are very different in my mind.
It's similar in your mind. It's similar to like a 13-win team and a 12-win team. I don't know what it is, but like,
No.
really?
In my mind, a 4-win
Okay,
team
I'm sorry.
is a team that has like nothing and is like very much so in a rebuild year. Like they just have nothing. A 6-win team is like you got pieces, but you're not putting
Cohesive.
it together.
All right.
You know.
Well, we'll end on that.
So I got the Bills at 7-10. I don't love their offense. I think Dalton Kincaid very well could be their wide receiver 1. Or Dawson Knox will be in there too. I like Keon Coleman. What?
I'm so
Dawson
surprised
Knox,
he's
yeah.
still
I don't know why
Yeah.
he's still there. Dalton Kincaid's actually really good. I like him a lot. But no, I don't love this offense other than Josh Allen. The defense is what it is for me. This defense got decimated. They got nothing. This is not a great team. Josh Allen will keep them in the respectable conversation, but I think that this is going to be rebuild, reload around Josh Allen. This ain't it this year. They are not it. They got Allen, and that keeps him alive, and they'll rebuild around him, but it ain't it this year.
It's like you said, Nick, when we were doing the quarterback ranking. You're like, your quarterback can only keep you afloat for so long.
Yep.
And that's what the Bills are going to be. Josh Allen's going to keep them afloat.
Yeah.
I think they'll be fine if they surround him
Yeah.
again. I mean, if they surround him again,
Yeah,
they're right back in the 12 category.
I'm gonna piggyback off of that. I also have the Bills third in the division. I have them 9-8. I think Josh Allen, as good as he is, has the capability to beat any team in the NFL on any given day.
Yep.
Because that's how good of a player Josh Allen is. But they also could lose any game now because they don't have anyone on defense.
They would drop games even with the good.
Yeah, they
teams
lost to
that
the
they
Broncos
had,
at home last year.
that they had.
But then
no
they fired
business
their
dropping.
offensive coordinator and then just went on their tear.
I know. I'm just saying, like even with Allen and Diggs and the defense they had, they would drop games they had no business losing.
But you remember like mid 2010s when the Saints missed the playoffs a few years with Drew Brees because they just lost a bunch of their main guys. They were kind of in a transition period. I think that's what's going to happen.
That's a good word for it. This is a transition period.
Yeah.
This isn't a rebuild or anything like that because they
need to retool.
They have Josh
retooling.
Allen. It's a retool. It's a transition year to surround Josh Allen.
If the AFC wasn't as loaded as it is, I could still see the Bills being a playoff team just because I think Josh Allen.
Well, the
is
division
that good.
itself is
But
better than it was.
the AFC, you can't afford to have weakness.
Like
in
the
this
AFC as a whole, but even just the Eastern Division is significant. There's only one team that is objectively horrible in this division.
Yeah, I don't even know if that team's objectively horrible. To be truthfully honest with you, they're not great.
They're not great, but they're not.
They got a lot of talent on that team. We'll get to them in a minute. In my notes, I have the Bills enter a transition period, miss the playoffs this year in a loaded AFC. I have them at 9-8. I don't know. There's a lot of teams I have at 9-8 in this conference. So I'm not quite sure where they rank in terms of like the AFC standings. But yeah, it's a bit of a transition period. I think it's going to be another like this year and then maybe another year before they get back to the Bills of old. But yeah, they are. I have them missing the playoffs. That's all I really have to say about it.
I have them at 9-8 as well. My lowest 9-8 team, which is about the 10th team.
Yeah.
So that's where I have, and I'm gonna highlight this point. Don't get me wrong, the weapons really aren't there, but I think that the Bills could still have a top level offense this year.
Yeah, there's potential.
There's potential for them to be a top level offense supported by Josh Allen. Josh Allen is capable, like you guys said, of keeping an offensive load. I think to the extent
you could
of
just
what
run the ball with him all the time, and no one can stop him because he's a linebacker running the football.
I would not suggest that.
I would not suggest
I
that
would not
either.
suggest that.
They
but,
couldn't do that.
But
If you want him to play for a while,
I would not suggest that. But I seriously think the Bills' offense could be a top level offense still. But like you guys said, defense is going to hinder it tremendously because they can't. They lose guys and they can't seem to hit on their picks either.
All right, let's go to Miami. A lot different weather-wise.
A lot better.
Who would you like to go first, Evan?
Whoever wants to.
I will claim the Miami Dolphins.
You can go first.
Okay,
All right,
I got them.
I have the Dolphins going 11-6, winning the division. I like the Dolphins a lot.
That's terrible.
I think that we're looking at a very similar team to last year, but I think even last year they hit humps. They lost games they shouldn't lose. They choked in situations they shouldn't choke.
They had a lot
At
of big
some point
injuries
here
along
soon.
the way too.
At some point here soon, Mike McDaniel, he's a great coach. They're going to get over that. I think this is the year. I think they take the division. Tyreek Hill, he's getting older, but
he's still Tyreek Hill.
But he's still Tyreek Hill.
Jalen Waddle's getting better.
Jalen Waddle's getting better. I'm not a huge Tua Tagovailoa fan, but he's serviceable.
And he got paid.
So I guess they're a huge fan of him. Their running back room is crowded, but extraordinarily fast. All three of them are immediate home run hitters and can score an egregious amount of touchdowns. Their defense is just as good. I mean, not just as good. Like, their defense is solid. I like this team a lot. And I think that, like I said, Mike McDaniel is a great coach. And at some point, they're going to stop choking.
In theory.
They'll get over it, in theory, at some point.
In theory.
So I got them taking the division, 4 seed.
I have a tiebreaker between the Dolphins and Jets. I have the Dolphins winning the division, and they're the 4 seed for me.
What record?
10-7.
Okay.
And the big thing I will highlight, you brought it up great. I think they will get over the hump eventually.
Yeah.
But here's the big thing. Down the stretch last year, the amount of injuries that plagued their team impacted them in an extreme way, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And that, I think, played a big factor in what happened.
Well, and the fact that they're from Miami and they played in the coldest game in history.
But if you think about this, potentially, if they have those guys on the defensive side of the ball to finish out the regular season, there's potential that they're playing in Miami for that.
If all they have to do is win one of those last. Like, I know they beat the Cowboys, but other than that, all they have to do is win one of those final couple games.
And they would have been the one, not the 1 seed, but
like the 2 2 seed.
2 or 3 seed. Yeah.
Because the Bills were the 2 seed. They would have been the 2 seed. So.
Yeah.
So I have them 10-7 winning the division. They'll be my 4 seed.
I also have them 4. I think I also have a tiebreaker now that I'm seeing it.
Nice. Evan?
I have the Dolphins at 10-7, second in the division. I like the Dolphins' offense a lot. I drafted like half of them in fantasy this year.
Yeah, you did.
I like, obviously, Tyreek Hill. I think he was just voted the number 1 player in the NFL. So
For good reason.
Whether you think that's valid or not.
Yeah, I mean, there's an argument
does not think
for
that's
it.
valid, so.
There is an argument for it.
I mean, yeah.
Jalen Waddle, I think, will be better. Do you have a running back duo of Raheem Mostert and Devon Achane? We'll see if Jalen Wright plays at all, but I like him too. The offensive line is not too shabby. I mean, I think this team it's exactly like how it has been the last couple of years, where they're a good team, but are they really good enough to like get over that hump? And I don't know, but I have them second in the division, going 10-7. We'll see how they do, but they're going to have an electric offense like they have the last couple of years.
Are they in the playoffs for you?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
How the heck are they not?
There's
10-7.
10-7 might not make it in the AFC. That's it's
There's
not even a
potential.
joke.
I mean, that's true, but if you don't have the Dolphins in the playoffs, that's kind of crazy. I feel like.
I don't know, man. Yeah, I think they could miss too. I don't have that though.
I think they're good.
I think I
good,
have a combination of you two, where I have the Dolphins at 11-6, winning the division, but they have a tiebreaker with the Jets, who we'll get to them in a minute.
Your tiebreaker's with the Jets. Mine's with the Patriots.
That's what
No, it's
I'm
not.
just kidding.
No, it's not.
Come on.
Drake May just comes in. And just
all three of us have the exact same thing.
Yeah.
11-6 tiebreaker with Jets.
I had 10-7.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, we have the exact same thing.
Yeah. I had 11-6. I think they won the tiebreaker with the Jets. I think, if I remember this correctly, the way I predicted their schedule, they have another hot start and then taper off towards the end again. I don't know why they just keep getting rough back half the schedules, but I have them lose. I have them going 3-3 in their last 6 games or something.
Yeah, they play the Packers, the Jets twice, the 49ers, Browns, and Texans.
Yeah, that's the last 6 games.
From week 13 to 18.
That's what I'm saying.
Jeez.
That back half of the schedule was rough. They could genuinely lose 5 of those 6 games.
Yeah, that's brutal.
But I don't think the
They better
taper.
start out hot then.
Yeah, I don't think that their tapering off is going to be enough to have them lose the division this year. It's going to be close, but they win the division due to, I don't know if it's a division tiebreaker or conference tiebreaker. But yeah, hot start, taper off towards the end again. I guess I'll transition into the Jets, who I also have at 11-6. I'm not going to spend too much time on them.
You don't need to.
It's the exact same situation as last
It's
year.
what we thought they would be last year.
Yeah, it's the exact
It's the
same
same
situation
thing.
as last year. I do have some concerns about Aaron Rodgers coming off that Achilles tear, but that team is too good. The Achilles tear. They went 7-10 once again with Zach Wilson as their quarterback last year. So they just need a competent quarterback, and they should be a playoff team.
Yeah.
I'm the other person that has them.
They're my 5 seed.
winning
by
the
way,
division.
Jets.
I have
The
them.
Dolphins are my 4 seed.
I have them 11-6 winning the division. Basically, like what Nick said, I think Breece Hall is just going to be tremendous this year. I think he's going to be one of the best running backs in the league. Garrett Wilson, I think, is going to take that step up from teetering to top 10 to by the end of this year. I think he'll be up there in the top 10.
I hope he does.
I do too.
I mean, 2,000-yard receivers, 2,000-yard seasons with Zach Wilson as your quarterback. You bring in Aaron Rodgers. Even if Aaron Rodgers isn't his full self, that's still better. That offensive line got better. They brought in Tyron Smith. They drafted Olu Fashanu. They have AVT, Morgan Moses, a couple other guys in there too. But their defense is their calling card. I think this is going to be the best defense, one of the best defenses in the league. With Sauce, you have
Quinnen Williams.
Yeah,
Quincy
Quinnen Williams. Hassan Reddick just requested a trade, even though he never played for them, so that's interesting. But I think their defense is phenomenal. I think it's going to be a reason why they win a lot of games this year. And I think the Jets are a very well-balanced team. I think they're a very complete team. I don't see a lot of glaring holes with them, and I think if Aaron Rodgers can stay healthy, I think this is how we all thought they were going to be last year, which is one of the better teams in the AFC.
New England.
I had Jets at 10-7 as well.
I mean, there's not much. I mean,
I just had them at 10-7.
I have them at 11-6, fifth seed in the playoffs. What we thought was going to be the Jets last year, the Jets this year.
That's yeah.
All right, New England.
3-14.
Oh.
I had them 3-14. I think I might have made a mistake here on my predictions. I think they're going to be the worst team in the AFC, but I don't have it like that. So I kind of need to. I might have to make some adjustments to this.
Who's the Broncos?
Nice.
Huh?
Was the Broncos the worst?
No.
Oh, I think I know who the worst is.
Do you?
I think I do.
Titans? Okay. I hate the Titans, and I don't even think they're going to be that.
No. I as I started looking through this,
Titans here soon.
as I started looking through this, though, I was like, I messed up.
That's fair.
I don't think you did. I also have the Patriots at 3-14.
No, I'm talking about the other team.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. Well,
Fair enough, I guess.
3-14. I think Nick alluded to this earlier. Like, they've taken steps. They got better this offseason, but there wasn't much to get better from.
Yeah.
This is going to be a year of.
This is another rebuilding year.
It's another rebuilding year.
They got their
in
quarterback.
hopes to get next year.
I think it's a similar situation as to what. I'm trying to think of.
Maybe Houston, where they had a couple years where they just didn't.
No, not Houston. I would say the Bengals. I think it's a similar situation where they get Burrow in his rookie year. They kind of still suck, but then the next year is when they kind of surround him and then they take the step. I
They
think
better
it's,
hope that they draft like Luther Burden or something.
I think
Well, that's not happening.
I think it's a similar. Well, I think it's a similar. I'm not saying the Patriots are going to take that type of a jump, but I think it's a similar situation where I do think Drake May is their guy for quarterback.
I do too.
I just don't think there's anything around him yet, and I think they're going to be rebuilding around him. But this year, currently, they don't have anything
I'm going to say they're.
except the quarterback.
I'm going to say this. There's potential that these receivers that nobody wants to
I
talk
don't
about
like
could be
them.
dark
I
horses.
don't like them.
They could be dark
No.
horses, but I don't expect much.
Not taking those receivers. That receiving room, in my opinion, is one of the worst in the league.
It is the worst in the league.
That receiving room needs help desperately.
Javon Baker's going to
I
be the
will
guy.
say the only bright spot on this offense, other than Drake May, is Ramondre Stevenson. He's good. Ramondre
And he's still going to
He's
split
all
time.
right. Yeah, he's still going to split carries. with
I think
Antonio
Ramondre
Gibson,
Stevenson
too.
is better than all right. They just paid him a 3 or 4 year contract, so obviously he's going to be their
very good
guy.
last year.
Yeah, it wasn't very good last year, but
No
should-
one was
he
good
should-
last year on the Patriots team. They were terrible.
We should take a step.
Okay, what else did you guys have? For them?
I had them at 4 wins, 4-13, 0-6 in the division. Obviously,
I also had that.
I had them 1-5.
I don't think
stole
think
one.
Drake May should play this year. I think they should play
Jacoby.
That's
Brissett.
kind of real too.
And I don't think Drake May should play. I think he would heavily benefit from sitting a year, learning. Jacoby Brissett is a solid veteran. He's been around for a while. Yeah, so if I'm the Patriots, I would not play Drake May this year. I'd let him sit and develop because I think he could be their guy, but he's got a lot of things he needs to work on. Ramondre Stevenson is a solid back. Antonio Gibson, I think, is going to be decent as well. You got Kendrick Bourne as your wide receiver one. That's not great. Demario Douglas, he showed flashes last year. Shout out Liberty. And then they drafted Javon Baker and Jalen Polk, who I actually both like, and I think
Yes.
both of them could be very good players for the Patriots this year. I think both of them are like Joel said, kind of sleeper guys. They have Hunter Henry at tight end, solid, whatever. They just traded Matthew Judon. So
as we were recording today.
yeah, so that hurt them defensively, but their secondary is not bad. They still have Christian Gonzalez, who's one of the best young corners. Kyle Duggar, Jabril Peppers. So yeah, they're a real work in progress. But this is going to be the first year that they're without Bill Belichick, so that's going to be super weird. So we're going to see how all that stuff goes. But yeah, they're definitely a rebuilding team, and they have a lot to work on. And I know Patriots fans are not used to this, but
It's nice that they're just doing this, though.
but yeah,
They deserve
they're
this.
not going to be good for a couple of years.
I also have the Patriots at 4-13, last in the division. I actually think that there's more talent on this team than people are giving them credit for, especially on defense. Although Matthew
Judon's gone now,
Yeah,
so.
Judon's gone.
Barmore.
Barmore's underrated. Christian Gonzalez is Uche as well. Their defense could be I think their defense could be pretty good this year. But their opening 8 games are Bengals, Seahawks, Jets, Niners, Dolphins, Texans, Jags, and Jets again.
Yikes!
How did they get that tough?
I don't know,
That
but
is
that
brutal.
could sink their season before it even gets going.
Yeah,
Oh, that is
they have
brutal.
the second hardest schedule.
Yeah, they that is why.
3-14's valid.
Yeah.
We're objectively terrible.
I think they have more talent than a typical 4-13
The
would
NFL
tell
just
you.
wanted to screw them over. For
It
that,
happens,
man. Like,
you
that's
know.
brutal.
There's always one team
That's
a year.
real.
But I think they have more talent on this team than 4-13 will give them credit for. But their schedule is brutal this year. So I have them 4-13, comfortably last in the division. Who knows? It might bless them. They might get, like you said, a Luther Burden or someone on offense, or maybe they replace Matthew Judon with another edge rusher. I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see.
But yeah,
That would change.
I think the Gerard Mayo experience is going to get off to a rocky start.
But it's not
Which
really
I
on
think
him.
they
though.
expect.
Yeah,
They don't
they
expect.
should.
They don't expect him to.
They got no team in the hardest schedule. What do you expect?
Yeah, they kind of got dealt with that.
So
South
is it,
time.
is it
South
South?
time.
We're getting south now.
Let's talk about the Titans first, because I think that we all have them.
Joel, you can start.
Why you have to throw me in like that, dog?
Throw you into the
As I look at this, I made a mistake.
I don't
With-
think you did.
I have them
I
at
think you and we have the same.
I have them at 2-15.
Oh,
That's absurd.
That's absurd. I
That's
know.
absurd.
I know.
that's a little low.
Will Levis just as
Will Levis loses his right arm.
So, and I'm gonna openly say this,
Callahan.
Callahan.
Brian Callahan.
I'm gonna openly say this. I didn't.
I really don't think this is as big of a mistake as you think.
I think it is.
Weird teams.
I don't think it is.
I think they're at least a 4 or 5. I think they're a 5-win team. I would say about that, but they're not a 2-15 team.
I think they're pretty bad.
They are. They're not great, but it's not a 2-15
It's like
bad.
I said earlier with the Commanders. I think this is just a very strangely assembled team. They got a first-year head coach who's never been a head coach before. Not dissing on him, just saying he's never been a head coach before. Not a great situation. I don't think this is a good team.
What do
I
you
don't.
have, and what's your record?
3-14.
Okay, that makes me feel a little better.
I
but
don't think the Titans are going to be good. I really don't.
I just think
Will Levis is not
Will Levis is
guaranteed
not
to
the
be
guy.
Their receiving room, I don't like. I don't like their receiving room.
And if Will Levis isn't the guy, guess who their number 2 is? Mason Rudolph.
Yeah, exactly. I don't like that. Mason Rudolph is an embarrassment to the league.
Okay, that's a bit excessive.
That's a bit excessive.
He took the Steelers to the playoffs last year.
I
after
don't like
the
their
Mitch
receiving
Trubisky
room.
situation.
Their running back room is good, but
I think it's the exact opposite. I think their receiver room is good, but their running back room isn't. They still have D-Hop. They just signed Tyler Boyd.
And Calvin Ridley.
And Calvin Ridley.
Calvin Ridley. I'm not a fan of.
I'm not a fan of them either,
Getting
but-
old, and Boyd's good still, but
Boyd's getting.
D-Hop actually was not terrible.
Yeah, D-Hop had 1,000 yards last year. He's not old. He's not OG D-Hop, but he's still like a good receiver.
I don't like this receiving
Ridley's the
room,
boy in
Yeah,
there.
Ridley's.
and I don't think Ridley's that great.
Yeah,
They paid him.
They lost.
yeah, they
Four-
paid him like 78 mil over 4
I
years.
thght it was 92.
It was.
It
It
might have been
90.
92.
It
It
was
was
like
absurd.
92 million.
I was watching a video and it was like players to like fade in fantasy, and it was like Traylon Burks, and I was like, I think we've known that for the last like 3 years, not to draft that.
Yeah.
Why are we putting Traylon Burks in
I
anything?
think that's an obvious answer.
No
Yeah.
disrespect to Traylon Burks, but
He's not.
I-
He did not live up to his draft.
no,
But
not yet. At least.
I like this running back room. Tajay Spears and Tony Pollard are both good backs.
Both the exact same.
Yeah,
They are.
literally the. I guess I'll go with the Titans next. I have them at 6-11. Listen, they added. Here's the thing: the Titans were one of the most active teams in the offseason in
Yeah,
terms of moves
that's
that they made.
part of the reason why I'm like.
Like
I
they
messed
they
up.
added Calvin Ridley, they added Tyler Boyd, they got Jamal Adams, they got
Tony Pollard.
L'Jarius Sneed, they got Tony Pollard, they
L'Jarius.
got Lloyd Cushenberry.
That was a good pickup.
Like
It was.
they
Kenneth Murray's. in
yeah,
it,
Kenneth
too.
Murray too. They overhauled a lot of this team. The problem though is outside of like L'Jarius Sneed, I don't know if any of these moves are going to help them win right now.
No.
Like
They
they're
have
all
Jamal Adams on roster.
yeah, but Jamal Adams.
I know.
Jamal Adams has been washed for like 3
I
years.
know. I know.
Jamal Adams, like he's not. I don't think he's going to move the needle. I don't think Tyler Boyd or Calvin Ridley is going to move the needle that much.
Yeah.
I don't think Tony Pollard is going to move the needle that much. If all these additions work out, the Titans could shockingly be at 9 or 10 wins.
No.
But
No,
I don't think that's going to happen at all. I'm shocked that I'm the highest on the Titans, and I'm a division rival.
They are not good.
Well, Nick, you're not the highest. No, I'm at 6-11 as well.
I have them at 11 and 6.
No, I'm 6-11, last in the division. I do agree with a lot of things that you said. They did really overhaul this roster, but yeah, outside of L'Jarius Sneed, there's really nothing that is like screaming like win now.
Yeah.
Their receiving core is better than most.
If this was like 20,
What?
It's
it's
not bad.
It's not that bad.
It's not bad.
Calvin Ridley, DeAndre Hopkins, and Tyler Boyd are all aging, but they're all like
Solid.
like fine wide receivers.
If this is like 20, I will say this. If this is like
I
20,
wouldn't want that to be my
if this is like 2018, their receiving core would be like the best in the league.
2018.
2018 D-Hop, Calvin Ridley.
6 years
and Tyler Boyd.
later.
No, I know. I'm just making like I'm just
There's
putting that out there.
worse receiving cores than this.
There is worse
I would
receiving
not
cores than
want
this.
this to be my receiving room. I'll just say that.
Yeah, but there's worse than that.
Patriots. Who else is worse?
We're not going into this. We'll discuss this.
We'll
off the
discuss
pod.
that.
Tony Pollard and Tajay Spears, fine. I don't know why they picked up Tony Pollard because I thought Tajay Spears was just fine, but and Will Levis showed some flashes, but I don't think he's their guy. So yeah, they're kind of just how the Titans usually are, just kind of a meh team.
They need to fix that.
And
They're in Tennessee. They deserve
see what
better.
Brian Callahan can do. But yeah,
I'm
6-11 last in division.
I'm sorry, Titan fans.
The people of the Smoky Mountains deserve better.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do.
I'm
they
sorry,
don't.
Titan
Screw
fans.
you, Nick.
They were good for 2 years and thought they owned the rest of the AFC South.
I'm sorry, Titan fans. I
Have
didn't
fun
mean to
being 1 yard
disrespect you.
short for all eternity.
Next.
Who we go next? Want to do the Jags
Go
next?
Vols.
Yeah, we get the
We'll do
Jags.
the Jags next.
You want them or me? Who wants to go?
You can go.
I'll
You
take
got
the
it.
Jaguars. So this was
Duval. I have them beating the Bengals in the divisional round.
okay. So the Jags. This
No,
one was
literally,
tough for
I
me.
do.
Okay, I have the Jags at 9-8, which is the same as they were last year. And this was hard for me, but the thing is the AFC is a lot better. So personally, I think the Jags are going to take a step forward this year. Like I've always been high on the Jags. I've always been high.
Are they in
on
the
Trevor
playoffs
Lawrence.
for you or no?
They missed.
Zach's very sad about
I really was, because I wanted the Jags to make the playoffs. Because I like Trevor Lawrence. I still think Trevor Lawrence has potential to be a good quarterback. And I think the Jags are a solid team.
They're inconsistent.
They're inconsistent. They're very inconsistent. Trevor Lawrence, as much like I'm not hopping off his train yet, but he needs to show more after last year. I love Travis Etienne though, but I think that, and like I said, I think the main reason for me is because I think the rest of the AFC is just so good. 9-8. In reality, I believe that the Jags 9-8 this year is better than the Jags 9-8 last year. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to be better this year than he was last year.
it. Hope so.
It's just still like I think that he'll be good enough this year to show that he is their guy. He is their franchise guy. I think it's just one of those years where it's like they aren't quite. I mean, Brian Thomas is a rookie. You know, I think it's just one of those years where it's like they aren't quite up to like deep playoff contention, and the AFC is nasty. So a combination of both. But I do think Trevor Lawrence gets back on track. But I see still a slightly above average team, although they are the second team out of the playoffs for me.
I have them at 8-9. They are third in the division for me. I'm kind of hopping off of the Trevor Lawrence train. I think he's a little overrated. But I like Travis Etienne. I think Travis Etienne's good. Their receiving core is solid with Gabe Davis, Christian Kirk. I think Brian Thomas. I really like Brian Thomas. I think
And
he's,
Evan Ingram, too.
yeah, I think Brian Thomas is gonna be really good. Evan Ingram solid, pretty good tight end. The offensive line's not terrible, but the defense, there's some holes on defense. Their secondary is not great. Their defensive line's not great. Their linebackers are good.
What's his face?
Josh Hines Allen.
Yeah, but no, they got the guy from Georgia. They picked him in the first round. What was his name?
Trayvon
Trayvon
Walker.
Walker.
Yeah,
He hasn't been
Who's
very good.
I don't even know how I think about Trayvon Walker.
But yeah, Josh Allen. I forgot about Josh Allen. Josh Allen's good, but outside of really that, then they have Foye Oluokun, who's good. But the secondary is not great, and I think this division got better. I like the Colts and the Texans better than them, so the Jags kind of slip it down a little bit in their rankings.
I have the Jags third in the division at 9-8. I think this is more of a case of the AFC being unbelievably good than the Jags. There's a lot of talent.
That's
on this
what
Jags
it is for
team.
me too.
Trevor Lawrence, while he's been underwhelming, is still an above-average quarterback. They've got a pretty good receiving core with Christian Kirk, Brian Thomas, Gabe Davis, and Evan Ingram. Travis Etienne's a really good back. They've got a star on defense in Josh Hines Allen. They've got Oluokun in the linebacker role. They're inconsistent, man. They should be better than they are. Well, I mean, obviously last year I had them going to the Super Bowl and then they collapsed. But they should be better than they are. And it would not shock me at all if the Jags won 11 or 12 games and one of those teams that just come out of nowhere is one of the NFL's elite again, because they have the talent to do that. But they're so inconsistent. Just everywhere. Trevor Lawrence, their defense, Doug Peterson at times, at head coach with his coaching decisions. The other two teams in this division, I think, are going to be more consistent in terms of their strengths and weaknesses than this Jags team are. So they're just kind of a hard team to project for me. I have them at 9-8, not in the playoffs, third in the AFC South.
I have them third in the AFC South as well, 8 and 9, and I'm also I'm about done with the Trevor Lawrence train personally. I mean, I'd like to see him be a little more consistent, like Nick alluded to, and Evan alluded to this also. It's just the simple fact that the Colts and the Texans got so much better this offseason. Don't get me wrong, the Colts didn't address secondary very much.
We'll get to that.
But I still think they're a better team than the Colts are still a better team than the Jags, and I gotta go Jags 8 and 9, third in the division.
Are we gonna go to the Colts? We'll go to the Colts. I have the Colts second in the division, AFC South, obviously. I have them 9-8. I don't think they make the playoffs this year. And when I talk about the AFC being unbelievably loaded, this is the prime example, because this team should be a playoff team. They should be a playoff team. I don't know what to expect with them this year. If Anthony Richardson can stay healthy and A.D. Mitchell is as good as I think he's going to be, which is how did he fall to the second round for us? I don't understand. I don't know why he fell to the second round. Character issues, my booty. But this team has a franchise quarterback, hopefully, in Anthony Richardson. Their receivers are a lot better than they were a couple years ago with Pittman, Alec Pierce, Josh Downs, although with that ankle injury, and now A.D. Mitchell there. And their offensive line reverted back to 2021 form last year. They were top 10, and then they were genuinely one of the worst in the league, and now last year they were top 8 in the league again. And their front seven, although now with Samson Ebukam tearing his Achilles, he's out for the year. He had 9.5 sacks last year. But they've got Kwity Paye, they've got DeForest Buckner, they've got Grover Stewart, they've got Laiatu Latu, who I don't know why he was not picked before 15, but he's first defensive player in the draft. Probably in the running for Defensive Rookie of the Year, I would say, Laiatu Latu. Their linebackers are good with E.J. Speed, Zaire Franklin, but their secondary, man. In the AFC, with all the elite quarterbacks in this conference, their secondary is genuinely going to cost them about 3 or 4 games if they do not address it.
It's a problem.
It's a major, major issue. It was by far the worst part of this team last year, and they did nothing to address it. I was talking about this before we started the AFC section of this video. I saw Jalen Jones break up a single pass in training camp highlights a couple days ago. That was the first highlight I have seen from a Colts secondary player all training camp, since training camp. So I don't know if that's our receivers are just that good and Anthony Richardson is that guy, or if I think the more probable answer is our secondary is that bad. And they have games against the Dolphins this year, that will be a blowout. I think that game will be a blowout. The Dolphins are the worst possible matchup. the Colts with their receiving talent and their speed. But I genuinely think their secondary is going to cost them multiple games this year. They got games against like the Packers, the Bears, the Steelers will be a problem if they get Ayuk. They play the Texans and the Jags twice. It's not a particularly easy schedule, but if they are as good of a team as I think they can be, they will find a way to win some of those games and give the Texans a real run for their money in the AFC South. But I think that secondary is a major, major concern. They are the first team to miss the playoffs in the AFC at 9-8. It pains me to say this, but I don't think this is the year that they make it back to the playoffs. If they would sign Justin Simmons, like I have been saying that they should for months, because they have a massive hole at safety, then it might be different. But Chris Ballard likes their guys in the secondary for whatever reason, but that's Jim Irsay. Famous, I'm not going to say that on the pod, but yeah, I have them 9-8, just missing the playoffs this year. If they were in the NFC, I think they'd make it, but they're not. So,
I mean, I'm just going to say my record because, I mean, Nick, firsthand as a Colts fan, covered the vast majority of this. I have them 9-8, missing the playoffs, and they're my second 9-8 team.
I have them 9-8, first team out of the playoffs, but I do think Anthony Richardson's going to have a big year. I'm really excited to see him play. I think he's going to.
I am excited for AR.
Pretty much covered it.
I'm very excited for AR.
He's
going to be unbelievable.
I am too.
Fingers crossed he stays healthy.
I got the Colts going 10-7, and I have them being the last team in.
Ooh,
I
there
appreciate
you go.
Someone here is giving the Colts a modicum of respect.
I think they're gonna. I mean, you take out the secondary. I mean, yeah, the secondary is an issue, but I mean, you got Jonathan Taylor's healthy, Anthony Richardson's healthy. The games he played last year, he was on pace to win the Rookie of the Year. Their receiving room is actually really good. Like, if you look at it from a fantasy standpoint, it's a little tougher because it's crowded. But I mean, this is a really good receiver. Michael Pittman is the wide receiver one. A.D. Mitchell is nasty and could at some point take over the wide receiver one. Josh Downs was insane last year. This is a really good team.
And even if one of them gets hurt, you have Alec Pierce, who's like a solid piece.
Alec Pierce is a solid rotational piece. I mean, it all hinges on Anthony Richardson
being
healthy, or if he turns out to be the guy everyone thinks he is, because that's not still proven. He only played 4 games.
Yeah, he only played 4 games.
That's not proven. But I'm banking on him healthy and him being that guy, and I got him in the playoffs this year.
When we did QB rankings, I think a lot of us placed him in that where we think he was going to be.
I think assuming he's healthy and assuming he's the guy that he can be, this is going to be a pretty good football team.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, their secondary is.
Who would have said this time last year?
Yeah, I know.
When I thought they were genuinely going to be in the running for like Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah. No, I mean their secondary is a serious problem, and their secondary is going to cost them. I have them as the 7th seed, but the rest of the team around that's going to, I think, make up for it enough. I'm excited to watch their offense because if Anthony Richardson's good, this could be a very.
It's going to be a very different. It's going to be like Baltimore level.
It'll be an exciting offense. Well, just because I mean they got 1,000 times better receiver than Baltimore.
Yeah.
Their passing is way better than Baltimore.
Yeah. All right, Houston.
12-5, first.
Yeah. Why are they as good
in
as
the
they
division? Number 3 for me.
I got the Texans as the 2nd seed, and I have them going 13-4, taking the division.
That's fair.
I think the Texans are going to have a really good year.
Really good.
I think the Texans are going to be nasty this year. They have They have the best receiving room in the NFL. C.J. Stroud is already a top 5 quarterback in my mind. Their running back room got significantly better with Joe Mixon addition. Their defense got better. This team is nasty. This is I love D'Amico Ryans as a head coach. This team is a really freaking good team. They are tied with the Lions as the 2nd best team in the NFL behind the Chiefs for me. This Texans team is nasty.
I can't. I have them 12-5, first in the division. They're my 3 seed in the AFC. They're really good. Yeah. They're really good.
Yeah.
People talk about like a potential sophomore slump with C.J. Stroud.
not with the supporting cast.
I don't think CJ, and it's not
Stroud's
even
that
that.
good.
I don't think CJ Stroud's your typical rookie quarterback. It's not like
He didn't throw a pick till
that's
week
what I'm
8.
saying. If he
Or
had
something like that.
a bunch of turnover problems last year, I could see where you're coming from if defenses catch on to his play style.
He was like the safest with the ball.
Yeah, he threw 5 picks last year.
Yeah, no.
He, like,
Stroud's nasty. This Texans team's really good.
Daniil Hunter, who quietly had 16 and a half sacks last year.
Yeah.
Opposite of Will Anderson. Like, you got
This is a mean football
they
team.
got Derek Stingley in the secondary.
Yeah.
And then you go out and get Stephon Diggs.
Get
this
Stephon
offseason.
Diggs. You got Stephon Diggs, Nico Collins, Tank Dell, Dalton Schultz,
Dalton
Joe Mixon,
Schultz.
C.J. Stroud,
Yeah.
and a good offensive line.
This is a nasty football team.
They're-
You want to
they're-
talk about a rebuild executed perfectly?
This is
It's right here.
Perfect and fastest rebuild.
CJ
This is the fastest.
And another
rebuild
thing
I've
is C.J. Stroud. We've talked about this when we did the quarterback rankings. C.J. Stroud looks to be a natural-born leader.
Yeah.
Like you
He
have
is.
to have that
He is.
in order to be a real Super Bowl contender. The Texans have that. The
And they are a
Texans-
Super Bowl
The
contender.
Texans should be considered a serious Super Bowl contender.
They
for
absolutely,
this season.
they are. They absolutely are.
They're really good, and I hate that I'm in the same division as them for the next 10 years. Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be rough for you.
I had him at 12-5, number 3 overall, and obviously winning the division. Personally,
I also had him at 12-5, winning the division. I mean, you guys pretty much covered it. They made a lot of moves, and they got a lot better. And C.J. Stroud, I think he's not going to have like a sophomore slump. I think he's going to be right there and still be one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I mean, Joe Mixon is a way better runner than Devin Singletary and Dameon Pierce was. And you have probably the best receiver trio in the league. With Stephon Diggs, Stephen Collins, Tank Dell, Dalton Schultz in there as well. The defense got a lot better, like Nick said. They had a Dillon Hunter. Yeah, they're going to be nasty.
Do you have them third place in the AFC?
12-5 through the AFC.
All right, we'll let you start the AFC North. I think
All right.
you can pick any one of these teams.
All right. AFC North, the best division in football. Let's start with the team that I have ranked above the Texans, and that's the Baltimore Ravens. I have them at 13-4, winning the division.
What? How is it crazy?
I mean, they went 13-4 last year. Yes, they did lose a couple pieces on defense and their defensive coordinator, but you still have Lamar Jackson, back-to-back MVP. You added Derrick Henry,
Two-time MVP.
Two-time, yeah.
sorry, two-time MVP. My bad. Derrick Henry, who is still Derrick Henry. You have Zay Flowers coming back for his sophomore year. Mark Andrews should be healthy. And on defense, you still have Kyle Hamilton, Roquan Smith, Madubuike, Adoya Afe.
Kyle Hamilton.
Yeah, like Marlon Humphrey's still there. They're going to be gross. I think they're the second best team in the AFC. And I have them at 13-4, winning the division.
I'm going to piggyback off that because I am the exact same thing. I have them at 13-4, winning the AFC North. I don't know what else there is to say. I mean, they're very good.
I have them 12-5, winning the AFC North. They're my 2 seed. I have no reason to believe that they'll slow down, at least in the regular season. Like they lost they lost Patrick Queen. They still have Roquan Smith. They lost Geno Stone. They still have Kyle Hamilton. They extended Madubuike. They got Derrick Henry. Their offense is going to be, I don't know about more balanced, but have fun stopping their run game.
Definitely not more balanced. Maybe even less balanced.
Yeah, but I mean, have fun stopping their run game with Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson. It's going to be almost impossible unless you put 8 people in the box.
just wait for this play action.
Yeah, it's good.
Of course, the year that the Bengals have bad.
That could genuinely decide the division. Is the Bengals' run defense versus Baltimore?
Sure will.
They still have an elite special teams unit too. John Harbaugh is still he's a great head coach. He's probably top 5 to 10 head coach in the league. I have no reason to believe that they will slow down. The funny thing is that if the Steelers get Brandon Ayuk, I could genuinely see all 4 of these teams winning the AFC North this year. But I think I have the most confidence in Baltimore to keep that train going.
Zach?
Okay, you guys are going to smoke me. I don't care. I don't want to hear it. I'm going to go through this quickly. I have them second in the division, going 11-6.
I don't hate that. I'm not going to smoke you for that. The AFC North is really good, and they have a tough schedule.
Okay, so
Anybody can win this division.
personally, I don't think the Derrick Henry thing is like as huge as some people say. He's a running back who's like 30 years old, and I think he's getting to be out of his prime.
We've said that for the last like 3 years.
I was gonna say it seems like the dude doesn't age.
He's gonna.
Father Time is undefeated though, so
second
I know where he's coming from.
He's gonna be a good running back for him, but I'm not like, oh my gosh, like this is insane. We have no shot. Like, no, that's not.
It's not
no.
after his 2,000 yard season.
No. If they would have got him when he was like 26, 27, when he was rushing for 2,000 yards, then I'd be like, crap. But I'm not. Like,
I'm still saying crap.
I'm not bawling my eyes out, shaking in my boots.
You
about
will be
that.
when the Ravens run for 300 yards on
I'm
you.
sure they probably will, but I'm not shaking in my boots with Derrick Henry. They lost Geno Stone. That's a solid loss. They lost who was the Patrick Queen? That's also a solid loss.
Two division rivals.
I mean,
Both of them.
Yeah.
Yes, both of them.
So I mean, yes, they're a good team, but I don't like their receiving room. Other than Mark Andrews, Zay Flowers.
Zay Flowers is good.
Okay, he's solid.
Zay Flowers is good.
But they have no one besides him.
Yeah.
They're a good team, but the division's wide open. So I got them at 11-6, second division.
All right, next.
Next team, pick who's all right. We'll go with the
Browns.
We'll go with the Browns. Yeah, I'll
This
start
is
with
a
the
fun
Browns. Before I say their record, I'm going to say this. If the Browns had kept Baker Mayfield, they would be Super Bowl contenders.
Yes.
Yep.
Right now.
Amen.
They would be Super Bowl contenders right now. The rest of their roster outside of quarterback is that good.
I agree with that. And Baker Mayfield is a solid
Yeah, he's a
quarterback.
solid quarterback. He took the
There is no
he
issue
almost
with
took
Baker
the Buccaneers to the NFC Championship game last year.
There's no issue
If
with
they
Baker
did
Mayfield.
not move off from Baker Mayfield, they would be genuine Super Bowl contenders, probably the second best team in the AFC. If I would just
I
put that
wouldn't
out
probably go that far.
But they don't have that. They have Deshaun Watson, and that's why they're going to go 10-7. They are my 7th seed in the AFC. I do have them sneaking into the playoffs, but the quarterback play is preventing this team from reaching their true potential, which is like 13 wins and a potential Super Bowl appearance. There's not much else to say about Cleveland. They added Jerry Jeudy in the offseason to pair up with Amari Cooper. They are getting Nick Chubb back. It's to be determined whether he's the same running back. He probably won't be.
Not quite that caliber.
That knee injury was pretty serious, but Jerome Ford is a solid guy to pair up next to him.
Jerome Ford is pretty good.
Their defense should be, once again, one of the best in the NFL. It's really funny that the Bengals get good and the rest of the AFC North decides to stop playing around.
Same for the Colts.
Same for the Colts,
I don't understand.
That's hilarious to me.
But yeah, on my notes, I have quarterback play and tougher schedule hold this team back from reaching its true potential. But 10-7, third in the AFC North. They are my 7 seed.
I've got them also at 10-7. Funny enough. They're the 8th seed. They're right out. They're the first team out for me, and the reason that is because the Colts make it in at 10-7 over them, and I think that's valid because they have an easier schedule. They don't play the North.
That's true.
The Browns are 10-7.
The South isn't really a slouch either. It's not the AFC
Not
North.
the North. All 4 of these teams could go to the playoffs.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Browns are a Super Bowl roster outside of quarterback, unfortunately, probably. I don't think the Jerry Jeudy thing moves the needle that much.
I don't think so.
It's a nice guy to pair with Amari Cooper, but
Yeah.
Better than like
Their running back room is good.
It is a lot better
David
than
Njoku is an extremely good tight end. Their defense is unbelievable. Top 5 in the NFL, probably. But to be full on honest with you, the Colts playing in an easier division, but also the biggest thing for me, the reason that the Browns are out of the playoffs is because of Deshaun Watson. I strictly believe that if it was not for Deshaun Watson and quarterback play, the Browns would be in a premier spot in the AFC. I'm not putting them as the second best team in the AFC, but they would be the Browns would go from being a fringe playoff team where it's like them or the Colts to being they are guaranteed in the playoffs in my mind. But yeah, Deshaun Watson sucks and he brings them down. So that they're sneaking right out, but they're a good team still. They're not to be toyed
would
with.
not shock you at all if they were back in the playoffs.
No, it wouldn't shock me. I had them in. I went back and forth between having them and the Colts in, but they're the first one out at 10-7.
Third in the division.
I also have them at 10-7. They have the third hardest schedule, but I mean, like everyone said, outside of Deshaun Watson, their roster is a Super Bowl caliber roster, but their season legitimately hinges on what type of play Deshaun Watson has. If he is even a shell of himself from even like a shade of what he was in Houston, I think they're going to be a heck of a team. But if he's how he has been in Cleveland, I think he holds them back. But I still have them at 10-7. That defense is elite. Their wide receiver room got better. They're a great team. So 10-7 on my 6th seed.
No ifs, ands, or buts about it. They are a great team.
Yes.
Funny enough, 10-7, last team in for me as well. And that could be. And I said this last year about the Browns. It's one of those teams that, even as a 7 seed,
Very dangerous.
are extremely dangerous.
Because they play in the North.
Not even just that.
They're not a team.
They
They're
have that unbelievable
Any
team.
North team is dangerous in the playoffs. Any of the 4 of them, when they get in, are very dangerous.
Yep.
Record, whatever it says.
10-7, my 7 seed.
Yeah, we'll do the Steelers. Joel, you can start us off.
Steelers just missed it on a game against the Browns for me. 9-8, and I mean it just holds true. 9-8, a winning season, even with
God forbid.
Death taxes and the Steelers go 9-8.
God forbid.
At least.
9-8. I think they took steps in the right direction this offseason. Getting I hope a competent quarterback in Russell Wilson.
It should be an upgrade.
It should be.
an upgrade.
It's an upgrade, but I don't know how
I don't think it's
much.
going to really be that great of an upgrade.
And I don't know what's going to happen with Fields.
Not what you wanted to happen.
I know. I know.
Yeah,
I think he's done.
9-8 for them. They got a standout defense. I mean, when you have a defensive player of the year caliber guy, TJ Watt. I mean, on the offensive side, I think they addressed offensive line, which was a huge impact this offseason, which is why I could see them getting into the playoffs.
Yeah.
I hate that 2 of the best pass rushers in the league
Yeah. I also have the Steelers at 9-8. I actually think this team is better than they were in 2023 and 2022.
Yep.
I think this is their best team since they started out 11-0 in 2020.
That's probably true.
But here's the thing: I'm pulling up their schedule right now. I was talking about how the Patriots
It's the
schedule.
hardest schedule in the league.
Oh no, you don't understand.
No, I've seen it.
Their
It's the hardest
last-
schedule in the
I'm
league.
looking right now.
Their last
It's
8
bad.
games, they play each of the division rivals twice, home and away, and they play the Eagles and the Chiefs. That is not including games at Atlanta, games at Indianapolis, games against the Cowboys, games against the Jets, games against the Chargers.
Okay, the Chargers one's.
And the Chargers one is iffy, but I still think on any given day, Justin Herbert can come out and play like.
Which is
unbelievable.
valid.
That's
Yeah.
valid.
Their
There,
schedule's brutal.
and this is all. Here's another thing I will say.
You're still going to go 9-8.
I wouldn't be celebrating just yet. As of we're recording this, the Steelers have not got Brandon Ayuk.
Yeah,
If the
if they
Steelers
do,
end
they're
up getting
locked.
Brandon Ayuk, the Steelers I think will be a playoff.
It depends.
You
what
do
they
also.
give.
Their quarterback is still Russell Wilson, though.
It
They
doesn't.
trade George
The
Pickens.
Browns made the playoffs with Joe Flacco. Sometimes the rest of the roster can carry a not great quarterback. And the Steelers, if they get Brandon Ayuk, they might have that good of a roster now, to be brutally honest with you. But if they get Brandon Ayuk, I think they will have that caliber of roster. I could see them winning 11 games.
Please don't trade like Calvin Austin. Like it's
They came out and said that they're only trading draft picks for Ayuk.
Ooh.
So we'll see if that gets
Well,
done.
they traded nothing for Justin Fields.
Yeah,
so-
it's probably going to be
They
decided.
got Russell Wilson for free.
Yeah.
I love how I said. A 5th round pick for Justin Fields. That's a disgrace. Well, it's obviously right on par.
Yeah,
It's obviously right on par.
it's very sad to see as Buckeye fans. Steelers 9-8, last in the division, but it would not shock me at all if they were a playoff team again.
Also, Steelers 9-8, last in the division.
Zach?
Same things they always say, but if they get Brandon Ayuk, their ceiling is higher.
I got the Steelers at 9-8 because
Yes!
because
I think
under
that's a shoe in almost every year.
well
They're at
Mike
least gonna go
Mike
9-8.
Tomlin
Lucas?
Mike Tomlin made a deal with the devil, and he can't have a losing season. So 9-8.
It'd be terrible to start that now.
Yeah. That'd be real.
This
that'd
far
be a
into your
real
career.
shame.
No, they're gonna go
Well,
9-8. They have a monstrous defense. I really don't think they're. I don't like Russell Wilson anymore. I don't think he's that great. I don't know. They got a monstrous defense,
The
though.
saddest thing about the
And they can't
Steelers
lose.
is I can no longer root for Justin Fields.
It's true. We can't root for Justin Fields as a true anymore.
All right, let's move to the Cincinnati Bengals.
Keep this quick-ish.
I didn't set
I'm
a
gonna-
timer on you.
I'm going to just say
I'm gonna
this.
go
I'm going to say this.
We aren't gonna go for 2 hours.
You
either. I
won't
don't
have
know
to
much
hear
say.
me talk because I know those two will cover it.
Yeah, they got it. They
Yeah,
got it.
so we'll just take it from the top. You guys say your record. Call it a day.
Do you
This
want
is
us-
the last
do you
one.
want to-
explain?
Do you want? Can we say our record and then you guys explain?
Go for it.
Okay, go ahead.
I have them 11-6,
Terrible.
second in the division.
Just kidding.
I do think that they have real problems on
I
this
do
team.
too.
I'm not going to say what they are yet, but they have a very easy schedule, relatively speaking, and Joe Burrow is fully healthy, and the rest of the main guys are coming back. And they've proven in the past that when they have all them, they are a serious force to be reckoned with in the AFC. So they're not as balanced as Baltimore. That's why I have them second. I think their run defense is a real problem. But I have second in the division, 11-6. That's all I'm going to say about them right now.
I have them second in the division, 12-5, going 3-3 in the division. Pretty sure dropping one to each of the teams.
Yeah, I think I have the exact same thing.
Defensive side of the ball worries me a lot. And then obviously the injury to Mims is one that
sucks.
is a little worrisome as well.
He's
But
more of a developmental
he's
piece.
more of a
Yeah,
developmental
He was
piece.
playing pretty
He was-
dang good
He
though.
was, but
But I'm gonna give it to those two to.
Do you want to go or me?
I'll get it out of the way.
All right, I'll clean it up.
Yeah, you clean up my thoughts.
I was gonna give my thoughts a little bit more, but I think you guys can.
yeah, you guys got it.
Yeah.
Well, after we're done, if there's anything you want to add.
So I got the Bengals winning the division. They're returning to their
Am
throne
I
at the
shocked?
top of the
15 and
division.
2.
Am I shocked? am I shocked? No.
17-0.
17 and 0
this year.
Am I shocked?
Lose to the
No.
Chiefs and the Ravens once. Other than that, I think
Am I,
Other than that, we're good.
am I shocked?
The Ravens
Negative,
won.
Ghost Rider.
Okay, so I got the Bengals winning the division, and that's totally valid as much as you are.
No,
a
I'm not- no.
hating on that.
But hater,
Are
you're
you
a Bengals
kidding
hater.
me?
You are the lowest Bengals fan I've ever seen in my life.
Continue with your thoughts on the Bengals.
Bengals reclaim the
I'm a
throne
Bengal.
at 12-5.
Are they? What seed are they?
Third.
Okay.
Third seed at 12-5. And there are worries with this team. That is true. Defensive line is the main concern on the defensive side of the football. I like our DBs. We brought the linebackers back. I'm happy with the secondary and the linebackers. The front four are a little concerning due to how good the rest of the North is in the run game. My main concern is still Burrow's wrist, and I know that I've vocalized this with you.
Look at the flicker.
And a lot of the seriously, a lot of the videos that I've seen of him throwing, it's been a very inconsistent spiral.
Here's the thing, though. That's kind of your entire season. It's banking on that.
I'm banking on the health.
Okay, fair enough.
But I'm saying it is a concern because his throws have been wobbly, and in the NFL, that's a serious problem. In high school, it doesn't matter, but in the NFL, it's a problem. So, if he can get that, they've been getting where they need to get. They've just been a little wobbly, which is a concern. But I'm banking on him fixing that and everybody, getting back to the health. Also, the Jamar Chase contract situation. I don't know what the heck's going on. I think we should have signed him in June. We are going to give him a contract either way. Yeah. And here's my thing. Why wait? Because if they sign Jamar Chase in June and make him the highest paid receiver ever, give him, $145 million right after Jefferson and Tyreek sign their deals, literally by next May or next June, that's going to be a deal. The price to extend Jamar Chase goes up every month.
Every second.
Especially if they wait till after CeeDee Lamb gets his contract.
Why are we waiting?
Yeah, I don't understand.
Why are you waiting? You're gonna sign him. There's no question. They're gonna sign him. Mike Brown literally said we're gonna bend over backwards to get this done. So do it now while you can still save some money.
Do it now while you set the precedent.
That's what I'm
and
saying.
then make CD become
Could be
the highest
Because-
price.
Yes, because when you set that precedent, literally in a couple of days, when CD gets his deal, it's gonna be a deal.
Well, it could be
Like-
Jamar's waiting for CD to get a deal, so then they can find the middle ground between Jefferson and CD.
Yeah, I mean, but
that's
even
probably what.
I would say
Because I doubt the Bengals are just twiddling their thumbs.
yeah.
They've openly said they want to resign. They want to extend Jamar Chase.
Well,
Jamar Chase is waiting until Jerry Jones get off of his butt.
Yeah.
Sign CD, and then the Bengals will meet in the middle of him. And
Yeah,
Jefferson.
it's just like it just angers me because it's like I said, the price to extend him goes up every day you don't. If they extended him in June, we'd be saving money like crazy on him by now when CD gets his deal. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. That's a couple of concerns I have with the Bengals, but ultimately I'm banking on health. Mims blows chunks, but I think he'll be.
you're the one that just said he's been looking really good.
No, he
No.
said like the
His
injury.
injuries
Oh, yeah.
blows
I was
chunks
about ready
for
to
sure. Because he has been looking good.
Yeah.
But once he
No, he wasn't saying.
I was about ready to
sucks.
say, I
He
was
No,
like-
I'm saying his injury sucks.
Yeah.
But once he comes back, I think he'll be good. But yeah, overall, I think the Bengals have looked pretty good in the preseason, training camp stuff. I think that this is going to be a force to be reckoned with. I'm banking on full health here. If Burrow comes back fully healthy, this is the team we saw 2-3 years ago. This is the same team. This team with a healthy Burrow.
On offense,
On offense, it is.
On
This-
offense, it is. Defense is not the same story.
I think this defense is serviceable. With a healthy Burrow, I'm taking this
We'll see.
team.
They still have
Any
Lou
given
Anarumo,
Sunday.
so that might be true.
That's-
We'll see.
Yeah.
With a healthy Burrow, this team can win any game on the schedule. They don't, obviously, but they can. With a healthy Burrow, they absolutely can. And honestly, I'm going to be full on honest with you. Even last year, I wasn't peeing my pants over the defense last year.
Their run defense was awful.
It was atrocious.
It's terrible.
It's
Ironically, until they played the Colts, and then they hold Zach Moss for 20 yards.
I was at.
14
We were at that
I'm
game.
Yeah.
I'm just saying though, seriously, a great defense would be awesome, but if you bend but don't break, give Burrow the ball. Seriously.
That's real. I can't even
Yeah.
hate on that.
Seriously.
He's that good.
Bend but don't break and give Burrow the ball when he's healthy. That's all we need. And I'm banking on that. And honestly, I don't think this defense is quite as terrible as what all you guys are thinking. DBs are fine. Linebackers are fine. I think the D-line is serviceable. Trey Henderson had 17 sacks last year.
He did.
And Sam Hubbard
not
is
him, I'm
perfectly
worried about.
fine.
Sam Hubbard's a good pairing with.
They're not the ones I'm worried about.
No.
The interiors, I think, fine.
Interiors.
Sheldon Rankings or whatever his name is, he's serviceable. And then who's the other? Who's the other?
DJ
one?
Hill.
BJ Hill. BJ Hill is really good too. I'm fine with this defense, especially as long as you have the guru of Lou Anarumo too.
Evan.
This is a good Bengals team, man.
I agree. I have them at 11-6, second in the division. All right, let's dive into this. Let's start off with Mr. Joe Burrow. Yes, he's coming off of a wrist injury that is pretty severe, but as of right now, he has said it looks strong, or he feels strong. He's feeling more mobile. It's getting better every day. He's been getting training camp reps, which it's crazy to say that he hasn't gotten in 2 or 3 years. He looked good in the preseason. One drive, but what was he? 5 for 8 for 51 yards and like a touchdown.
5 for 7.
Yeah, so I'll take that. I think the biggest thing for him is he's now 10 to 15 pounds heavier than he was last year. He's at 220 right now, which is the biggest he's been in the NFL. And I don't know if you watched the Ryan Clark interview that he just did a couple days ago, but he is locked in.
Yeah, I was about to say
He's
that.
dialed.
He is
And
dialed.
are you really not going to bet on a locked in Joe Burrow?
He's not what I'm worried about.
No.
Not at all.
I don't even care.
Okay.
He is dialed in. This is a revenge season for him.
Yeah.
He has completely changed his mindset on how he attacks practices, how he attacks injuries, how he
His
attacks
health?
everything.
his preparation.
He has completely changed that, and I think
How he trains.
that is what you want from your franchise quarterback. And then obviously one of the big things that happened in the offseason was Joe Mixon left. As sad as it was, it had to happen. But now you bring in Zach Moss from the Colts and Chase Brown. I think Chase Brown is the most explosive, and I think Zach Moss will be the starter day one, but I think Chase Brown will take it over towards the end of the year. And then you got the receiving core minus Tyler Boyd this season, but you still have Jamar Chase, who he's going to get a contract. I'm not worried about that at all. He's going to play week one. I would be genuinely shocked if he doesn't. Him and Burrow, when healthy, we know is one of the best receiving,
The best.
probably, duos in the league. T. Higgins, this will probably be his last year. Hoping he can play better than he did last year. He was banged up a little bit last year. And then you have Andre Yoshivas, who has been a camp standout. He's been really good in camp. They got Trent Irwin, who's always been consistent. Jermaine Burton, who I really like as a rookie. He can take the top off the defense. I think he is a sneaky pick as well.
This is the deepest receiver room we've had in the Burrow era, I think.
Yes. Mike Gesicki's the best tight end that Joe Burrow's ever had. The offensive line, I think, is improved. I like the Trent Brown signing. I think that helps if he can stay healthy. And then, obviously, Orlando Brown will be back again. Ted Karras, Kappa, Volson, with Mims as well coming in. But obviously, like you both said, he's hurt. I think it's going to be a good offensive line. I hope so.
Just got to keep Burrow upright and give him more than half a second to throw the ball.
Yeah. And then on defensive ends, top tier, Sam Hubbard, Trey Hendrickson. I think Miles Murphy is going to be good this year. I think he's going to have more of a role because I think there's going to be a little bit more for him. B.J. Hill and Sheldon Rankins, that's the part of the defense that I'm most worried about, is that defense, that interior defensive line. B.J. Hill, I think, is a good player, and Sheldon Rankins is serviceable, but losing DJ Reader, I think, is going to be a bigger deal than people think it is.
Yep,
I think
agree.
that's going to hurt them a lot. But you still have the two linebackers in the middle with Logan Wilson, Jermaine Pratt. Love both of them. The secondary is boom or bust. The secondary is very young. I think the secondary has a chance to be a pretty good secondary. I love Cam Taylor-Britt. I love Jordan Battle. I think Geno Stone was a great pickup. I think DJ Turner had a great rookie year. Mike Hilton, as a vet, has been really good. It's just they're very young. They have guys obviously like Mike Hilton and Von Bell who are the vets, but I mean Dax Hill is moving to corner now. We haven't seen. He's kind of hasn't really panned out yet, but he also hasn't really found a role. So I'm hoping that him at corner will be better. But it's really just this. The secondary is very young. I think they're good. And I think they can be good, but it's just going to see, like you guys said, what can Lou Anarumo do to scheme them to be what their ceiling is. So I think overall, I think the Bengals are a pretty good team. I think with Burrow healthy, I take us in any game, and so I have them 11-6, second in the division.
Playoff time. Playoff predictions.
I don't have anything else to add.
Yeah, I don't have
but
anything else to add either.
why are you attacking me like that?
You are seriously the lowest Bengal fan I've ever seen in my life.
How? Just tell me how.
You haven't met my dad, dog.
Just tell
My
me.
dad has been saying.
Just because I have the Ravens above the
No,
Bengals.
that's not why. I just feel like you're always really low.
My dad. This is not right at all.
Also,